we speak about changing the space and changing the space for the better and whatnot, and then it seems like we're bringing consumerism into the space. And I know that the Web3 space is sullied. I know people are here to make money. I know most of the traders are here to make money, but the overall movement of the space is meant to be away from consumerism, capitalism, corporations, conglomerates, you know?
Let's flip this on its head a little bit. And rather than look at it as the opportunity that we're creating, or do we want this consumerism in here? For me, it's about equality of opportunity. And we hear that statement a lot in Web2, but quite often the opportunity of setting up a business, the opportunity of setting up a retail shop is not available to everybody because of the capital investment that's required up front. And that's what I want to do. I want to make barriers to entry into an industry lower. And how are we doing that? By creating this proof of concept. Well, if the big brands decide, okay, we're going to onboard, really take up the metaverse, and we're going to build our outlets in the metaverse to show where people can improve their shopping experience, it makes the barrier to entry for somebody to open a retail clothes brand or a fashion brand much lower. The overheads get reduced significantly because the cost of building something like that would be much smaller in the metaverse. It would be energy-wise, bills-wise, it would be far more sustainable. Personally, I think by creating these proofs of concept for corporates and onboarding corporates into the short term would create a long-term sort of roadmap where actually we're opening more doors. If we work with corporates to build a proof of concept that works for them, well, we have the proof of concept build, which means the initial cost of build for the everyday retail person like me and you becomes less because the framework now already exists. So as Novus, we're creating lots and lots of infrastructure, which will make it easier for the everyday person to come in and start creating things.
Will the everyday person have access to these resources, like the plan, whether it's a white paper or a mission, a guide, or
every member of Novus will, yes.
Gated. So every member of Novus who is the owner of a Web2 company, established, most likely wealthy enough to purchase in, will have access to it. But when you say the everyday man, I'm thinking, a 17-year-old artist in Pakistan who has bright ideas, right?
We can't. That has to be the ultimate goal. But to achieve a goal as big as that, you must break it down into smaller goals, and take things step by step, right? The fact is, if we look at the end goal, like you said, of a 17-year-old person in Pakistan who wants to have a look at this and get access to this, how do they get access to it? Well, first, the infrastructure has to exist. If the infrastructure exists and is created and has been tested, then absolutely you can make it available to the wider world. How would we do that? I don't know as yet. I'm a great believer in educating people, and when I say educating, I don't necessarily mean university degrees or anything like that. I don't have a university degree myself. I employ several people with university degrees, but myself, the learning I've done is by speaking to people around the world, speaking to people in my industry and growing that way. So we've got to create a place where information can be available. And again, what are we doing with building this infrastructure? Yeah, maybe in a year, maybe in a year and a half, when we actually have a solution that we can present. Right now, I couldn't solve that problem.
Once the larger Web2 brands and businesses come in and establish their businesses, their pipeline of income, then you will attempt to make it easier for the smaller people.
I wouldn't say when they started to establish it. We just need, not even big brands, we really just need proofs of concept that where people can actually go and experience, does this work? But we do need to onboard Web2 brands. We do, because the user base in Web3 right now is not large enough. It's no more than maybe a small city in reality, right? And consumer brands large brands, they want to aim at a larger target market. This is just one proof of concept that we discussed. One of the biggest things about blockchain is the fact that you can create communities, that you can bring people together from long distances. and that are, sitting all over the world. And you can do that with lots of Web2 technology at the moment, but the technology you have at the moment, Teams and Zoom, and it allows you to communicate, but doesn't actually allow you to build a community. And we almost want to create, cities in the metaverse, because large companies have offices all over the world. How do we get them to bring this together? Get these companies to adopt crypto or tokenization or NFTs. And it's interesting because I've spoken to several people in the big four consultancies that core team do business with, and we asked them the question just a couple of weeks ago, really not even that long ago: what do you think of Web3? What do you think of NFTs? What do you think of crypto? And all of these people just, unanimously, the same answer was always, oh, it's too volatile. It's not the industry for us. We don't really trust the technology behind it. My second question to all of these people is always the same. So what do you do in blockchain? And their answer again is, unanimous in saying, we love this technology. It's the next generation of technology. We're looking at, solutions for the finance industry. We're looking at solutions, in storage, and it's just the language that's being used. When us as retail, we will use, when we say Web3, everything relates to crypto and NFTs in some way. And when you ask corporates and business owners, what do you think of Web3? Their view is more the infrastructure of blockchain and what can be done with the infrastructure.
What attracted you to Web3? I mean, yes, you were learning. Yes, you wanted to spend your time better. Yes, you got addicted. But what specifically made you look at this industry and be like, wow, this is the future?
The average person's working life is 50 to 55 years. Most major breakthroughs in technology come through about every 20 to 30 years. Blockchain is the next major revelation. In a person's lifetime, you probably get 3 opportunities where you could be a part of something where you're very early in an industry. One opportunity will probably come along when you're very young, so you're too inexperienced to take advantage of it fully. One opportunity will probably come when you're quite old, 60, 65 years old, and coming towards the end of your working career, and you don't really want to be looking at anything new. You're looking at retiring. I felt that for once, and the only time in probably my lifetime, that I'm in an industry and I've caught onto an industry at a stage where it's early, and I don't think this opportunity is ever going to come up again. I don't want to be sitting there in 5 years thinking, oh yeah, these guys created this great metaverse product, I'm going to show this to my friends and we're going to use it. I want to be the person that was involved in a group that created it.
How would you define the culture of the space?
The culture changes so fast. I think the whole culture is driven by a group of influencers that came in very, very early over the last 3-4 years. Those people who were shaping and shifting things in January last year are probably not the same people that are moving things and shaping things now. In the projects that I've been involved in, there've been buyers and members as young as 12, 13 in there, and members as old as 60, 65 in there. It's one industry that can bring all cultures, all ages, all backgrounds together. And what I was talking to you about, equality of opportunity, I think Zeneca is probably the prime example of somebody who's trying to give back, right? And what the NFT culture and the platforms that it exists in, it gives somebody like him access to a much bigger market to be able to reach. Money is a byproduct of doing things well. I want to take that one step further and say that if you make money with a lot of people together, it's a lot more fun than doing it on your own. And I think the culture here is, again, it's given a lot of freedom for people to actually be themselves.
It paints a picture. The picture could be painted as opportunistic. How would you respond to that?
When you say opportunistic, what do you mean?
Zeneca, for instance, like you named, is by all means a better personality and presence in the space compared to a lot of others.
Yes.
But he is a venture capitalist. He is an ex-poker player. He's in the space for profit, which I don't think there's anything wrong with, right? Like, we're all we got to pay bills. You know, I have a family, you have a family, like everyone's realistic. But Zeneca does educate. He does bring good to the space. I will not take anything away from him. But he is embedded in the culture of the space. So not only is he a part of it, not only is he a mover of it, but he lives it, right? He brings on artists to his podcasts. He's all about artists. He's all about creating a lifetime of revenue for artists and then their families afterwards. He is very much against capitalism as we define it in the world, entering the space, larger brands entering the space, sullying the space, and having it become more than what it was meant to be. Whereas you're coming in with the vision of, you know, just, and a picture may be painted that you're coming in with a vision of, I've hit the nail on the head. I made it. This opportunity is early. I have the chance to create something, to generate wealth, to be the first to do it, to be the instigator, not the user. We have an opportunity. We're going to bring these Web2 companies in, and I'm going to start another business here in Web3. Are you pushing the culture forward? Are you a part of it? Are you immersed in it? Do you understand it? Or is this about the opportunity Web3 brings for profit?
First of all, I love the question. I think this is an amazing question, and I'm glad you asked it. You know, I guess this is where you get to know me as a person. You know, I had the opportunity of setting Novus up on my own. You know, I have a Web2 business which brings me plenty of funds. I don't need, you know, I'm not in a rush to do anything here. I have access to all the right people with the right technology. I have access to everything I need to create this company, this project, this vision that we're creating on my own. But instead of doing that, there's 6 partners in Novus. You know, and 5 of the other 5 partners outside of me are people that I've met in the NFT space. They are not business leaders. They are now going to become business leaders, people that have everyday jobs. They wanted to change their lives. And like I said, it's about creating more opportunities. That's what Novus will do. You know, yes, we're going to have business leaders in there. Ultimately, we're going to be, you know, creating proofs of concept that are going to allow the everyday person to come along with us. What we've done is we've partnered with an up-and-coming metaverse firm who is exceptional. And what we're promoting is that this Novus is working with this brand to provide metaverse proofs of concept, build solutions, and we're actually elevating that particular brand. Okay, that's a company. How are we doing that with individuals? If you look at what we're starting to create with this podcast, with YouTube, with the opportunities that we're creating, you know, we're creating a platform. We could say and brand all the shows as these Novus YouTube shows, right? The things that we're doing. But no, that's not the approach we're taking. We're again inviting individuals who in the NFT space have been working hard and want to build a platform for themselves. And then each show is branded Novus in partnership with this brand are doing this. And that's what we will do moving forward. So does the everyday person have access to 100 business leaders? The answer is no. Can the everyday person go to one place where they have access to all of these business leaders and actually discuss ideas with them? That's what we want to do. We, you know, out of this group, that community that we're creating, there will only be 50 to 100 Web2 business owners. Everybody else is the everyday person that wants to create something. What you're getting with Novus is, and what we're creating is that person has access to this network to say, I want to achieve this. Whether that means you need a VC, whether that means actually you've got everything else and you just need a tech partner, and in fact, it can be as simple as you want to arrange a call with a few people in the network or a workshop where you could just sound some ideas. It's an ideas board. You know, you think of something, you want to develop it further, this is where you can come and do it. Yeah, there is a cost involved, you know, the minting and coming in, but how do we turn that into something that's accessible for the everyday person? We need to create multiple revenue streams. We need to create multiple businesses that bring in revenue streams that can then pick up the costs of creating this infrastructure, which can then be made available to the everyday person. Without creating these businesses, we cannot bring in the revenue to create these proof cases, unless we get one VC that's going to throw money in out of their own pocket. Does that answer your question?
I'm not sure if it answers the question, right? Because the question is opportunism versus expanding the space. you're saying it's something that you want to do to give people access to these thought leaders and business leaders, but it's actually something you want to sell.
Well, no, it gives me access.
Whereas
I don't have anything to sell them. What am I selling everybody at the moment?
access to 100 business leaders.
Access to 100 business leaders, access to, for them people to start creating ideas. I would say it would be selling if I was personally going to make a huge profit out of this initial sale of the mint. The fact of the matter is, no, I'm not. Absolutely not. My bills are paid by my position on the board of Core Team. I've been investing in this particular industry now for 9 months, and without expecting anything in return in the short term, because, you know, especially if you want to build something that solves problems for lots of people, they take a long time to build. And do I see it as an opportunity to better myself? Absolutely. Better myself in learning, I better myself in wealth. It's an opportunity to start giving back. Is this opportunism? I want to answer it directly. I'm trying to think of.
It's almost a very tough one, right? Because anything can be seen as opportunism until it's, for even charity can be seen as opportunism. You know, so it's a very tough one.
Yeah, and I'm not going to deny it. Like I started, it's absolutely an opportunity for me. It's an opportunity for me to build something that my kids could step into in 20, 25 years, right? It's an opportunity for me to create a platform for and look after my kids and then their kids for the next 2-3 generations. Yeah, this is a huge opportunity, but I also know that I can take several people with me. I don't know if I can create something which is going to make thousands and thousands of people successful. But if I can change the lives of 100 people, that'd be amazing, and create wealth for myself at the same time. Why not?